Okay, so let's continue with our next sum. So the next sum will be looking at refractive index, and it reads like this. Okay, it says what determine the refractive index of benzene if its critical angle is 42 degrees. Okay, so now it's just one single statement and it still has everything that we need to solve this sum. Okay, now we'll again start the way we normally do. We write what is given to us, right? They gave us critical angle, and we know critical angle we write as C. If you remember, we write it as capital C. So critical angle for us right now is 42 degrees. Okay, given this critical angle, we need to find out what is its refractive index. Before we go ahead with that, let's try to recollect how this critical angle and this total internal reflection happens, right? So total internal reflection happens when anything is going from a denser medium to a rarer medium. So he's saying that benzene is going and it is getting totally internally reflected whenever the angle is 42 degrees, right? It gets totally internally reflected. Now we need to find out what exactly is the refractive index from this. Over here, they did not mention what is the other medium, but that is not important as such. We'll just assume it as air. Okay, if they don't mention it, just take it as air. Okay, now since we know that it is air, we know what is the refractive index of air, right? We know it is 1. But let's keep one thing in mind. If that is benzene and this is air, remember that this is N1 and this is N2, right? So N1 value is benzene's refractive index, not air. In this, the previous sum, it was different. It was air to liquid. Over here, it is benzene to air. So N1 is for benzene, N2 is for air. So I will write N2 equals to 1. Okay. Now, from yesterday's formula, we know that sine C equals to 1 by N12. Okay. So we need to find out what is this N12. Okay, but we'll see why N12 was relevant when we were doing the sum yesterday, or when we were doing the formula yesterday. So we write N12 as N1 by N2, correct? Now, if you look at the value of N2, it is nothing but 1. Right, so essentially what we are doing, N12 is nothing but N1 divided by 1. So if what happens over here, N12 can directly be taken as the refractive index of the denser medium, N1. Okay, whenever it comes out through air. That is the reasoning behind getting N12 instead of just leaving it as a fraction over there. Okay, so now knowing this, N12 and N1 are the same. Now I'll go back to my formula that tells me sine C equals to 1 by N12. Now we know that N12 is nothing but N1. It's the same. So I'll just write it as N1. Keep in mind the N2 being air, we were able to get it as this. If it is not air, it will be different. Okay. Keep that in mind. Don't just directly take it as N1 to N1. That's not the case for all the sums. All right. Now, We know what is the value of C. So I can now rewrite this formula as sine 42 degrees equals to 1 by N1. Now, what is the value of sine 42 degrees? We won't know it directly. We'll need to refer. Since you people don't know how to calculate sines yet, you can directly refer to this table. So now, this is the sine of 42 degrees. The angle 42, the value is 0.6691. Okay. So I can write this, now I can replace this as 0.6691 equals to 1 by N1. Okay. Now, so now I need to find out N1. So I will cross multiply this. N1 equals to 1 by 0.6691. Okay. Now this is a fraction that you decimal fraction that you'll have to solve. Since you know how to solve decimal fractions, I'm going to leave it up to you, the calculation. And once we come to the answer, it will be, far as I remember, it is 1.49. Right? We'll have to give it a check. One divided by 0.66. 1.4945, which is essentially 1.49, right? Round it off to two figures. So now, once we have calculated this, we know for sure that N1 value is 1.49. So therefore, refractive index of benzene is 1.49. So very simple sum, very easy to do. It's just two formulae. It's straight up. We take the values and assign them. Just keep in mind which one is N1, which one is N2. Okay. Now, one more key point I can tell you, whenever you use this formula, if you don't want to use 1 by N12, you can directly use it as N2 by N1. Either way, you'll end up with the same value, because if you see, N2 is still 1 only over here, right? So if I use sine C equals to N2 by N1, I'll still get 1 by N1. So it doesn't really make much of a difference whichever formula you use. But it's only handy when it comes to situations like this about air. All right, so that's it for today. Two types of numericals, and you're gonna have something to solve also. So go and take your quiz after watching this video, and tomorrow we'll be back with a new topic. Thank you and